Yo, what's good? Happy Friday to everybody, the Who Dat Nation. It's the one and only Who Dat Davis here for you. And if you don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And thank you for checking out today's episode of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. We have a lot to unpack here, but a little short time. I have some stuff I need to go do immediately after following the B&G Breakdown podcast. Some things came up by over here on my end, so it's going to be a short episode, but we are going to talk about the main points we need to get into today. But as always, a shout out to every single person who checks out my content on a regular basis. I see everybody filing in already, with the OG Jerry Poor to Greg White to Saints Highlights. What's going on, my man? Everybody filing in. Thank y'all so much. If you guys still want to donate to the B&G Breakdown podcast so I can put out more quality content, my PayPal is linked in the description. You're not required to donate. You know what I'm saying? It's there if you guys want to give a little bit of your time and money, so I can put up some more quality stuff for you guys. Right? I talked about wanting to get a new monitor. I wanted to talk about getting a new camera and a microphone. Those things I have on my list, on my wish list this year. I'm working towards it. I got a good bit saved up. Hopefully I can get at least a microphone set up right here for you guys so the audio won't be as terrible as it is right now. But that's for the future me. We are here to talk about Saints content, and man, oh man, it's been a neck and neck race so far for the quarterbacks. Right now, Jameis Winston still holds the lead. He's still pretty much favored. Jameis Winston, for you guys that haven't figured this out yet, Jameis Winston has yet to throw an incompletion during full team drills. As of right now, Jameis Winston is in the lead over Taysom Hill in terms of full team drills. Taysom Hill had, let me go ahead and pull up the article here, posted by the one and only, one of the GOATs of Saints media, Luke Johnson. Give you a little bit of these numbers here for you guys. We got Taysom Hill completing 6 of 7 pass attempts during full team drills, and overall he had 11 of 14 on the day. And whereas Jameis Winston had 7 of 8 pass attempts completed, and then that's during full team drills, and 14 for 16 in camp as a whole. That one solo incompletion for Jameis Winston was intended for wide receiver Jalen McCleskey, and he got tangled up with cornerback Ken Crawley. It was out of pass interference where he got tied up one. But other than that, Jameis Winston has been on the ball. But Taysom Hill showed poise. He showed great decisions outside of the first incompletion that looked like it was to nowhere, intended for Mike Wars Callaway. He ended up going on a 6 completion streak after that. So overall, what I've noticed in the second day of training camp is the average yards per attempt that they had. It's a lot shorter compared to yesterday, especially in Jameis Winston. They focus more on a heavy run set with the ones, and Jameis Winston rotating in with the twos, doing a little bit of short completions with the running backs to the fullbacks to the tight ends. Speaking of tight ends, I've heard Trevor Siemian had a deep completion to tight end Ethan Wolf going up the right hash. So everybody's getting their touches, but the standout player for the day for the New Orleans Saints, as of right now, is wide receiver Chris Hogan. I was scratching my head initially at Chris Hogan, and even though it's still way too early to tell where Chris Hogan is going to go, he could very well be a Camp Darling. But Chris Hogan looking very sharp so far. He caught a 15-yard dig route thrown by Ian Book, low to the ground. He went down, he made the catch. And for Jameis Winston, he had a fantastic leap grab for Jameis Winston that looked like that was going to be a pick by the sayings of some people, an interception. He went up and snagged it out of the air. So that's some good stuff to hear out of a wide receiver that's supposed to be that veteran presence in the locker room. His interview was poised. The way he handles himself on the field is also very poised. I'm very surprised so far out of Chris Hogan. If he can continue this trend, he may end up being in the starting lineup for the New Orleans Saints to give them that veteran presence that they so desperately need. And speaking of wide receivers, I got some bad news for you guys. You guys may not like this. I sure as hell do not like it. The Saints officially, as of yesterday, if you haven't heard, have signed wide receiver Tommy Lee Lewis. Yes, I'm not kidding you. I'll say it again. The Saints, as of yesterday, have signed wide receiver Tommy Lee Lewis, and according to Amy Just, to the active roster.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
I don't know how Tommy Lee Lewis keeps finding his way back onto this roster, guys. I really don't. Tommy Lee Lewis is like that one family member that just comes and goes only during when there's a cookout or something during the holidays, like a Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner. That one family member that just comes in and eats all the food and just leaves without saying a word to nobody. That's Tommy Lee Lewis right now. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's crazy. But yes, Tommy Lee Lewis most likely going to be on special teams, being that return specialist when Deontay Harris goes down for a two-game suspension due to that arrest he had a couple weeks ago. Oh my God, Tommy Lee Lewis. I don't get it. We don't get it. Why? Why Tommy Lee Lewis? I don't get it. But on to the defensive side, you guys are probably going to be surprised when you hear this. The defense for the Saints is the highlights for the day are the pass rushers, and not just Cameron Jordan either. Marcus Davenport ended up getting a sack on Jameis Winston. Carl Granderson ended up getting 2 sacks on the day, one on Trevor Siemian and another on Jameis Winston. So he suffered 2 sacks from Marcus Davenport and Carl Granderson. Big creep. Those guys are coming up. And Noah Spence got a sack in there today. The pass rushers for the Saints ended up getting some really good fights during the full on drills, like the 11-on-11 drills. So shouts out to Peyton Turner. He looks like he's a monster. Luke Johnson ended up commenting on his build, like when measured up to Marcus Davenport and Cameron Jordan. The guy looks like a freaking behemoth according to his terms. It's actually pretty good. So Peyton Turner already getting some good looks so far. Hopefully he continues to build and maintains his health as much as possible. Marcus Davenport sounds like a leader, guys. Like, he sounds like a legit leader. I don't recognize this Marcus Davenport. I really don't. This guy's laughing. This guy's making jokes during interviews. He sounds more calm. He sounds more collected. He sounds confident. I don't know where this Marcus Davenport came from. I really don't. I don't know. This could mean big things. I highlighted the fact that he sounded like a leader during the offseason, but this is beyond what I expected. The way he handled himself, it's a big surprise to me. He may yet just make a believer out of me. If he can get through training camp without any injuries, then sky's the limit for Marcus Davenport. And Peyton Turner on top of that, I still think it's the Peyton Turner effect. I really do. I really do think it's the Peyton Turner effect rubbing off on Marcus Davenport. That guy just needed someone that's more that's more similar to him in terms of stature and what he does on the right end of the field. So that's a good thing. And Marcus Davenport coming away with a sack or a would-be sack on Taysom Hill. So I said Jameis Winston a little while ago, but Marcus Davenport's sack was on Taysom Hill. That's incredible. I mean, just incredible. Going up against Teron Armstead. So, and the linebackers, you guys want to hear about the linebackers? Glad to ask. The linebackers for today, they mainly played in the nickel, but it was composed of Demario Davis and Pete Werner. Zach Bond was in the second team rotation with Caden Ellis. So right now, as it stands for the linebackers, they're neck and neck. It can go either way. So Zach Bond has some good looks day 1. Pete Werner looked really strong day 2. That one's going to come down to the wire at this rate. And that's actually a very, very interesting spot to look at. But overall, Marquez Callaway looking really strong. He was spotted in the number 12 jersey instead of the number 1 jersey. So remains to be seen if he actually ends up playing with a number 1 jersey this season. But on Instagram, he did get some shots done with the number 1 jersey on, so it may come into effect. We may not. Don't know yet. But Marquez Callaway looked really good. He sounds like a leader on top of that. It's very encouraging with a Michael Thomas empty locker room right now as it stands. The offensive line looks really good. Andrews Pete looking very strong in the screen game. He looks fluid. He's fast. It looks like he's got a couple of nice build to him. The wide receivers outside of Chris Hogan, Marquez Callaway, and Traquan Smith. Did you guys know how much Lil Jordan Humphreys has slimmed down? That man has slimmed down. Lil Jordan Humphreys, I barely recognized him. Like, that dude is lean. Like, he lost so much weight. I was very shocked. Like, that man is hungry. He looks more like an actual receiver than a tight end playing outside. That surprised the heck out of me. And he ended up catching a pretty good number of passes so far between days 1 and 2. That is absolutely insane. It is raining right now, so if you hear rain, that's why. But let's go ahead and get into some of these comments here. Like I said, I can't have a long stream today, but we will get into some of these comments here. Tommy Lee Lewis, I know, guys. Tommy Lee Lewis, he's back. The Saints keep stressing me out. Yeah, the Saints are. It's never officially a Saints offseason if there's nothing going on that doesn't stress you out. If there's no stressors in the offseason, it's not a Saints offseason. Like, that's where I'm at this point. This is my first offseason on Twitter for the Saints, and this is actually officially my second season on the B&G Breakdown podcast, and I've already come to that conclusion. Davenport has no choice but to come up. It's time to show why we passed up Lamar Jackson to get him. I agree with that. He's finally going into an offseason fully healthy, no nagging injuries. His mental space is in the right place as it seems so far. So the sky's the limit. Jerry Porter highlights the same. I think Marcus Davenport is for real. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, man. If he can keep it all together, like, you know what I'm saying? He knows his spot is in jeopardy. I don't know about in jeopardy right now. The Saints did extend him for the 5th season. So I don't know about in jeopardy at this point. They still need Marcus Davenport. He does really well at setting the edge and playing the run well. That's why I said he's like a young man's Davion Clowney, because it's not just a dig at him. It's just he really is good at setting the run. It's just pass rush and his ability to stay on the field that remains that has room to be desired. And that's what I was talking about. So Davenport setting the edges and getting stuff in the run, that's been his strong suit for a while, especially last year. Even though he missed the first 4 games, he's been healthy ever since then. So let's hope he can play for a whole 17 games. Can't get right. Davenport showing out and can't being a leader. We all better see that during the regular season. Look, I agree with that. You know, it is still early. It's still early in training camp. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can go wrong. But for right now, from what I've seen so far to Marcus Davenport, it's a good sign. Hopefully he can maintain that consistency. Did you see the tweet by Nick Cunningham on Winston? Yeah, I honestly just talked about it, Hoodie. Good to see you here, by the way. Jameis Winston has yet to throw an incompletion in full on 11-on-11 drills. Like, not one, except for that one you can't really put on him to Jalen McCleskey because he got tied up with Kent Crawley. So Jameis is lighting it up so far in training camp. Now the question I would ask is that more of a positive thing on Jameis or a bad thing on the DBs? I'll let you guys debate about that one. Let's go ahead and read down into some of these comments. I really don't get too excited for off a training camp. I need to see this production in real game day situations. Look, I agree with that. I'm not going to knock anybody for that. We have to make sure we keep our expectations tempered and be included, you know. But for right now, it's how I've seen him carry himself during interviews. It's like night and day compared to years prior. And right now, he's showing good signs. But if he can maintain that consistency during the regular season, then we really might have something here. Jameis had another good day. He absolutely had a good day. I'm very excited for him. I really don't get to it. Oh, okay, I just read that one. Said Jameis Winston's not throwing the incomplete pass yet. If you don't catch pass interference plays, he only had one. He only had one incompletion for Jalen McCleskey, but that's not really his fault. He has yet to throw an interception. So the thing with training camp, right? It's a small sample size of what these guys can give you. Well, no, we all understand that, and preseason is going to be another small sample. I understand that, but I'm optimistic and I'm getting excited mainly because this has been a painful offseason for a lot of us. We had to sit through all these debates, all this infighting amongst us fans about this or that or anything in between. It was just suffocating, especially if you're on Twitter as much as I am. So having something like this, actual Saints content to bring to you guys, it's very refreshing, and I can't help but show my excitement for that. And especially with Marquez Callaway speaking more like a leader these days, it's actually very refreshing. And Taysom Hill, he's looking pretty good so far. He had a couple of high throws, one that's very off the mark to Marquez Callaway down the field. The thing about Taysom Hill, if I had to make any type of negative light or negative commentary, is that I don't know what it is, but his throwing mechanics still seem a little off to me. Like he's not moving his feet as much. He's kind of stiff when he's turning his hips, not leaning so much into the throws. That kind of sails on him a little more than he intended. For example, a slant route to Marquez Callaway that almost got away from him, but Marquez Callaway able to go up and snag it out of the air. He had to extend to get it, but that's a saving play on Callaway, more so a good slight on a good light, on Taysom Hill. I am stuttering, guys. I'm stuttering because I'm just so excited. I don't get it. Malaya says he throws pretty hard. That's the thing. Yeah, sometimes he throws too hard. Sometimes he throws too soft. He needs to just loosen up a little. He seems pretty stiff. Sometimes he can go too hard. Sometimes he can not go at all. It's very confusing. He needs to work on that a little bit. I haven't seen that much out of Jameis. His footwork is still remains to be desired. But Jameis Winston, if you guys haven't heard this yet, I'm very excited for it. If Jameis Winston was reported to have been seen after practice, 20 minutes after training camp practice was over for the day, working on his footwork. So we're seeing the teachings of Drew Brees right now in Jameis Winston, who stayed after when everybody else left, and improving on his footwork as a whole. That's very encouraging. That's that leadership style mentality that's working its way out of Jameis Winston from Drew Brees, and I'm very pleased to see that. He knows what he needs to work on, and he's not letting the day go by where he's not working on something to put himself in the best position possible to succeed. T Dirty says, I was listening to the radio yesterday, and they were saying since Thomas is out for a while, the Saints are going to be horrible this year. Almost made me crash the Challenger. They don't know us. Look, it's because of the fact that the Saints do not have a household name like in the locker room. But what they don't understand is the Saints have had this philosophy in them since the beginning, since even before Drew Brees came here. Whether it's a Lance Moore or a Marcus Colston, or maybe even someone like Robert Meacham, he wasn't getting a lot of looks. The only good notable name that came to us was Devery Henderson at the time. Or other than that, you got Pierre Thomas at the time. Pierre Thomas was an undrafted running back. The Saints have done their best with the least. They made no names into household names. That's their mantra. But the national media doesn't respect that. They cover the likes of a Trey Lance from in San Francisco, or a Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, or a Christian McCaffrey over at Carolina. These household names that that make headlines around the league. The Saints don't have that in the house outside of Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. So that's like they need someone that puts numbers in their traffic, right? They need the clicks. And the Saints don't have that outside of those two, outside of 13-41 now. So let them sleep all they want. Like us here in the Who Dat Nation, whether you're here watching me, whether you're here or watching TJ Jones from the State of the Saints podcast or the Who Dat Nation Chatline podcast, these guys have always done their damage with the least. And it's been continuously proven even to this day with a Deontay Harris or a Marquez Callaway or someone like Shai Tuttle, an undrafted guy from Tennessee, or Malcolm Roach, an undrafted guy out of Texas. These guys make a living. Or even a DeMario Davis, who didn't even get that much headlines when he was playing with New York. Like, that's where they do their damage. They just don't want to respect that because it doesn't really get clicks. They like those household names. They like those names that are always featured in headlines. Like, that's how they get their bread and butter. Gabriel Fernando says, like for you. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Fernando. You guys, go ahead and hit that like button if you guys are enjoying the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast here. If you guys enjoying the content, you guys are enjoying the news, hit that like button, hit that share button, share me around to all your friends, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It takes less than 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be honest, guys. I am going to lose my mind when I get that first dono. When I get that first dono, I'm going to absolutely go crazy because I've never had an actual donation on stream. You guys have donated to my like my Cash App, yeah, but I've never had that on stream yet. And the day I get it, I swear to God, guys, you guys are gonna see a different side of me that's too turned for his own good. So I can't wait for that day. It'll come, but it'll come. But for right now, thank y'all so much. You guys are great. Let's go ahead and get some more of these comments. Talking bad about the Saints is the same like talking bad about my mama. It won't go well for you, partner. Hey, I like that analogy. The only people who can talk bad about the Saints is Saints fans. Like, we can talk bad about them all day long. We're the ones putting in time and energy in this team. Like, we not gonna tolerate no outside media bashing the Saints. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, period. Gabriel Fernando says, Juwan Johnson, what do you think about this dude? Juwan Johnson's gotten some good looks so far at the tight end position. He's made some pretty good catches. One was being a corner route. He from, I believe it was Trevor Siemian at the time, and some from Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. He's pretty good. He's not making headlines right now, and honestly, I think it's flying a little under the radar. So might still be plenty of things he needs to work on, and that's to no surprise, right? You're a wide receiver for so long, coming out of Oregon, making a transition to tight end. It's not going to be smooth sailing for you making that transition because it works out entirely different things, not just the physical muscle groups, but your mentality as well in terms of where you need to line up and understanding the playbook and your assignment. He still needs to improve on his run blocking game. That was evident last year when his number was called, especially in the game against Chicago. But his receiving, the ceiling is high for him in the receiving game, and he may end up surprising a lot of folks if he continues to improve. So if he ends up being a receiving tight end, he's going to be put behind the likes of Adam Troutman, or if he ends up being more of a run blocker, he might end up being featured behind Nick Van Eck. But for right now, he's doing pretty good. He's learning quickly. He's got good feet. He's got great hands. And for a guy of his size playing tight end now, his speed is well above average. So if he continues to improve during training camp, he may see some more green field in the 2021 regular season. T-Dirty says exactly. I got hiccups, excuse me. Yeah, exactly. Like, look, man, don't come for our team if you're not ready for the smoke. If you're not constantly rooting for this team, if you're not constantly pulling for this team, if you're not buying Saints merchandise, if you're not subscribed to Saints social media, don't come for our team. Don't do that to yourself, because we travel in packs. We will flame anybody on the spot and make no apologies about it. Only we can bash this team. Only us. No matter how eccentric it may be, it's still a passionate Saints fan base, and we will defend our own. If you're not riding with us, keep your mouth shut. All right, keep your mouth shut. I believe in our wide receivers. We picked up in free agency Speedy McCleskey. Jalen McCleskey is the second best wide receiver so far in training camp. Was so far the best one right now being Chris Hogan out of these first 2 days. Jalen McCleskey has caught a handful of good balls. He's had some circus catches. So Jalen McCleskey is showing out so far. If he can maintain that consistency, he's got great footwork. I mean, he is great coming off the line of scrimmage. He is very shifty for a guy of his 4.2 speed. So Jalen McCleskey, the sky's the limit if he can maintain that. And we're going to see more of that tomorrow when Jameis Winston hopefully ends up being plugged in as the guy getting the reps with the ones. Sean Payton talked a little bit about rotating in Jameis tomorrow when they're at training camp once again. He's working with the ones, Taysom Hill with the twos, giving them their fair shake. So it all remains to be seen. Hopefully he shows up and shows out. I want to see him and Lord Jordan Humphries on his active roster. I really do, guys. Especially Lord Jordan Humphries, because Lord Jordan Humphries, he deserves it. The man deserves it. When you're coming out, when your number is called and you show up and show out, your best game overall was between the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 15 and the Chicago Bears during the postseason wildcard round. And you can show up and contribute in a really decent way like that. Like this spot is his to lose. Is his to lose at this point. Someone is going to have to show an even better campaign than Lord John Humphries to make sure to ensure he doesn't have a spot on the active roster. I really do believe that. I do believe it's his to lose. And he slimmed down. If you guys haven't seen it already, I will post on my community tab a little later showing how slim Lord Jordan Humphries has become. If you guys don't have the official New Orleans Saints app, I will post that video of how slim he is on my community tab. So look out for that. Like, that guy is slim. I'm talking about slim. Who can be a dark horse to make the 53-man roster? I have my eye on Lawrence Wood. Lawrence Wood, an undrafted guy out of Truman State. Lawrence Wood was a return specialist, a dynamic return specialist out of Truman State. This guy is shifty. His official 40 time may not, his unofficial or official 40 time may not allude to that, but this guy can get you like good yardage and good field positions when the ball is in his hand. He's been excited. Been working on special teams along with Jalen McCleskey, Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris, and Brian Poole. I believe it was Brian Poole. So I believe Truman State return specialist Lawrence Woods is a dark horse to make the 53-man roster. I really do believe that. It's going to open up a lot of things for Deontay Harris when he's on the field officially with the Saints offensively. Like I've said a few times already, but those two, they intertwine. Like their fates are intertwined at this point. Like they're both dynamic return guys. So if he can really show up and show out, it's beneficial for them both. Like it really is. So hopefully he has he pulls it all together on open field in real time during the preseason games. Gabriel Fernandez says, depending on the Saints' performance, which I hope goes well, and Payton will win Best Coach of the Year, but if it doesn't give Dolphins a first-round choice, it's risky. Let me read that back. Depending on the Saints' performance, which I hope will go well, and Payton will win Best Coach of the Year, I do believe Sean Payton is poised to win Coach of the Year at this point. Think about this, guys. When you're leading your team to back-to-back playoff appearances with next to nothing, like in terms of household names, right? That speaks to the coaching of Sean Payton. This guy has quality depth and he knows how to use them. When Michael Thomas went down to injury last year, it was not only just Traquan Smith, but it was Marquez Callaway who stepped up. And we've seen flashes of Juwan Johnson playing a wide receiver. We've seen Lil Jordan Humphreys step up. We've seen a flashes of Adam Troutman at the tight end position, or Latavius Murray when he went down, and a little bit of Tony Jones Jr. in the Week 17 game. This guy knows talent. He finds talent, and he knows how to use the best of their given skill sets to get into the playoffs for the last 4 to 5 years. Like, this guy is seriously, criminally underrated. He should have won Coach of the Year last year, in my honest opinion. But the Cleveland Browns ended up getting Coach of the Year with Kevin Stefanski, but deservedly so. They haven't been to the playoffs in a long time, and he did it in his first year there with the Browns. So I can understand why he won Coach of the Year. But right now, as it stands, with all the adversity the Saints have on their roster, with no Michael Thomas to start the year, no Deontay Harris for the first 2 games, and a potentially pending suspension for Marshawn Lattimore, if the Saints end up going undefeated by the time they hit their bye week, or if the Saints end up going 4-1 before the bye week, then Sean Payton has made a strong case to win Coach of the Year, and I don't think anybody can argue that. I really don't think they can argue that. I'll read a couple more here. Do you think we should move up and use Harris like Chiefs do with Hill? I absolutely think they should, because Deontay Harris is a better route runner than Tyreek Hill. If you guys really compare the tape between Tyreek Hill and Deontay Harris, Tyreek Hill is more of that streaker guy. He's not much more known for his route running, but his speed is undeniable. Arguably one of the fastest, arguably the fastest receiver in the entire league. But he's not shifty like Deontay Harris is. But Deontay Harris can give you that speed and the route running ability. So they need to use Deontay Harris more. But like I said, that really is going to depend on if Lawrence Woods can show up and show out, not only during training camp, but during the preseason when it's his time to shine. And speaking of special teams, we've got Cooney fielding not fielding punts, but doing punts this today during day 2. I'm not too sold on Cooney. I'm more of a Blake Gillikin guy, but he's really he's been a little inconsistent today with this whole punting situation, right? He's hit a couple of good ones. He boomed a couple of good ones, but he's also shanked another handful of them. So if he needs to be more consistent. Whereas Blake Gillikin last year was giving Thomas Morstead, the highest paid punter in the league, a run for his money. So if he can end up, getting more consistent, then maybe we have something to talk about on that front. But right now, I still think Blake Gillikin shows up and ends up being the starting punter for this special teams. When Jameis wins the QB battle, we'll get another wide receiver, Taysom. That's actually very true. Taysom Hill is a really good receiver, especially down in the slot. He's a mismatch nightmare. This guy is still a very fast quarterback. He's a physical guy. He can run those routes. He's a pretty decent route runner. I wouldn't say he's top notch, but he's very decent. In his presence alone, you can't overlook it. So I hope Jameis Winston wins this QB battle, because Taysom Hill has too much value everywhere else. Not only just in a receiving game, mind you, but also in the running game, or in a tight end field, or even with special teams as a whole. He's that valuable. And I believe Sean Payton paid him because of what he brings with that versatility. He's the most versatile player in the entire NFL, and it's not even close. So I hope he gets it through his head. We should try PJ out at wide receiver, because he ain't doing good at his current position. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. He's definitely not an outside guy. All right, let's get that out of the way right now. PJ Williams is not an outside corner. He's maybe not that great at being a slot corner, but he did do pretty good his first year playing a safety, a strong safety, mind you. Not much responsibility. You just cover your guy. Make sure you know your assignment. PJ Williams has the tangibles to be a strong safety, and he showed a pretty good sample size of that last year. So if he can build on that, then he might turn a lot of doubters into believers. And I'm currently hopeful. I wouldn't say I believe in him yet, but I'm hopeful. So his current position right now is safety. Let's Let's run with that. Got Tim Dunn. What's going on, Tim? Who that to you, Darius? What's going on with you, man? Yep, Taysom can run past you or run right through you on the field. And that's really that's a good thing for Taysom Hill. I don't understand why he wants to be a quarterback so bad. You're going to get your quarterback reps regardless of what happens to training camp. Like if you end up in your versatile role, Taysom Hill is still going to get his QB design runs or his power runs and third and shorts or his red zone. Taysom Hill is loved by Sean Payton a fair bit. So it's not like he's going to just hold a clipboard on the sideline while Jameis Winston does his thing. No, he's still going to be featured in the offense and a handful of times at the QB position. So I don't understand why he believes he needs to be this every down quarterback when he can do that and see other spots in the field. He is in a very fortunate situation right now. A very fortunate situation. Like, why would you want to limit yourself? I don't understand that. I really don't. I'm looking to how Pete Werner performs. His body frame, height, and weight, and play style was the same as Panthers future legend Luke Kuechly. I said that same. Thank you. I said the same. Guys, I said the same thing. I said this exact same thing. Read this right here. I said this exact same thing on TJ's podcast. I said the same thing. A light Luke Kuechly. I said this very same thing about Pete Werner. And people think I was crazy. Pete Werner is a young man's Luke Kuechly, a poor man's Luke Kuechly. I said the same thing. Look, I don't get it. I said it. Thank you, Hoodie. Thank you for validating me. Yes, Pete Werner is a poor man's Luke Kuechly. His play recognition, his instincts, his speed, his lateral ability, and his ability to cover the tight ends, the running backs. It's a poor man's Luke Kuechly, and he can rush the passer on top of that. This is a young man's Luke Kuechly we got right here. And I challenge anybody right now to tell me otherwise. Thank you, Hoodie. You are MVP today. I told people this, man. It is so nutty. Like, I've watched Pete Werner during his time in Ohio State. It really did remind me of Luke Kuechly. Guys, you have no idea how validating this is for me. For someone else to notice this, dude. Oh, man, look, I'm very excited for Pete Werner. This man, Hoodie Jude, just got me very, very excited for Pete Werner. He really did with this comment. Thank you very much, Hoodie. I'm glad I'm not the only one who notices the comparisons and the shades of Luke Kuechly and Pete Werner. I'm very happy with this. But like I said, that's it. That's all for today's episode of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. I had to get dressed and go and handle some stuff, handle my business. But tomorrow we do have day 3 of training camp to talk about. I hope you guys are back tomorrow at the exact same time, and hopefully we'll have more highlights to show you. Look out for the community posts on Lil Jordan Humphreys' transformation, his slim figure. Look out for more highlights of day 2 in training camp. I will be posting that later on today on the channel. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel at B&G Breakdown Podcast if you guys haven't already, or share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, share it with your football fans in general. If you guys want to be a special guest of the week here on the B&G Breakdown Podcast, you have to be able, you have to, there's no be able, you have to be following one of my social media, whether it's Facebook at facebook.com/stateofblackandgold, or my Instagram at whodatdavis, or on my Twitter at realaarondavis. All my social media handles are in the description. You guys want that, you have to be following one of those, and you have to hit me up in my DMs. You have to hit up my DMs. You say you're expressing interest in being a special guest of the week, and I'll put your name in a drawing hat. I want to get a special guest sometime next month. I want that to happen. So if you guys want to come on, let your voice be heard, please hit it up on one of my social media. My Facebook Messenger is open to you guys on my page. My DMs on Instagram, my DMs on Twitter. Follow one of those. Hit me up, and I'll see about bringing you on if the random name roulette is in your favor. That's it. That's all. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a day 3 review of Saints training camp. And as always, it's black and gold until we dead and cold.